Thank you, Deputy President. Yeah. I rise to speak to the Public Health and Wellbeing Further Amendment Bill of 2022. And I do not support this bill at all. I will not support granting the immunity of the Chief Health Officer or a delegate of the Chief Health Officer or an authorised officer appointed under Section 30(1) or the detention review officer is not going to be personally liable for anything done or omitted to be done in good faith. I will not support this. I will not allow them over the last 2 years not to be held account. Not at all. And I cannot believe that this government has actually come in here with this. Another omnibus bill, you know, attaching other amendments. It sounds well and great when you first read it. Oh, remove the words HIV and Hep C. Absolutely. Totally agree with that. But continually slugging things together. So there's one great thing and then you add something that no one in their right mind should agree to. No one in their right mind. We have never seen the health advice. Never. It's always been made up as it's gone along. It has come out the Premier's mouth, it's come out of the Health Minister's mouth, it's come out of the Chief Health Officer's mouth, and it's been always made up as they go along. And I can assure you that that's the case, because the current pandemic legislation, it is very clear. You just have to have a look at some of the email trails that are produced. The Health Minister at night sends an email to the Chief Health Officer, who in the morning makes a direction. So that means that you have the horse before the cart. So in other words, this government, these ministers, or the cart before the horse. Thank you. I know what I meant, and I'm happy to continue on. But I appreciate being corrected. I talk about horses. So it has been very clear all along that it's been many political decisions, and I can assure you that you don't have to really go far to actually see that there is COVID, and they've done studies to actually talk about COVID messaging, and had study groups to see what messages would actually get people to do what the government wants them to do. There are control messages, there are baseline messages, there's personal freedom messages, economic freedom messages, self-interest messages, community interest messages, guilt messages, embarrassment messages, trust in the science messages, not bravery, anger messages. So it's really clear that you can actually see how around the world that they have actually honed in on their messages, trust in the science message, feel guilt message, to make sure that we complied with something, a vaccine, that doesn't prevent you from getting it, doesn't prevent you from spreading it, and has created numerous injuries, vaccine injuries, and people who've presented to hospital with those vaccine injuries and made feel guilty that they have those vaccine injuries. And then people have lost their livelihoods because this government has chosen, at a whim, to decide that somehow we needed to be locked down, healthy people to be locked down, that we needed curfews. that we needed to stop playgrounds, that we continue to have masks on children. I, in this place, showed scientific evidence in 2020, in August, to show that the only mask, the virus, is an N95 mask, but you have continued to put masks on children. You have fined people for not walking around with a surgical mask or a cloth mask. Nothing scientific about it. Nothing. But your messaging, don't worry. Your brainwashing messaging, your propaganda is all there to see. And history will judge you. And Professor BS, Professor Brett Sutton, needs to be held account, as well as his staff and the Health Minister. We have not had an inquiry. We need a royal commission. And it's absolutely disgusting to actually come into this place and allow one of them off the hook, or any of them off the hook, for closing down businesses, for wanting people to show their vaccine passports, their medical information. And the federal government's no better than this government. Actually, in the whole of Australia, this state government has been the worst. But the federal government, for not saving us from this stupidity, from the mandates, from APRA, from gagging our health professionals, our children, the suicides, the ones ringing up 000 begging for help. When this government actually put down the mandates last year on the 15th of October, the suicides after that for teenagers that didn't understand why they couldn't go to their graduation. And in this place, I have actually shown, there are many medical journals, medical evidence, scientific evidence, proper scientific evidence to show that the vaccine has an effective rate on children of 30 days. Why? And I have said in this place numerous times, I am not anti anyone who wishes to go get an experimental vaccine. Why would you be? It's their choice. It should be their choice. But I'm absolutely disgusted at mandating that the general populace can't actually work or go out into society without having a vaccine. That does not stop you from getting it or spreading it. I'm completely disgusted. I've been disgusted for the last 2 years, but this government continues to roll something else that it just has to hit another one of my nerves. No, not at all. Should they actually get off the hook and be given in law statutory immunity for their mistakes, for their failures. Somebody should have been keeping them to account. I would have loved to in this place if this government was accountable and transparent. They have never been. The health officers, the health advisors who have refused to answer questions in this place from my constituents, from me as a Member of Parliament, who have refused, the Minister, the Premier, months. Absolutely the arrogance of the Premier as well as the Minister for Health for not answering questions within this place, believing that Parliament is not needed because they know everything, and then they're wanting to get This is next level of burying, the information that everybody needs. Now, this is next level. Won't surprise me. It shouldn't surprise the community, really. So when will this government actually let go? When will this Premier and the Health Minister actually look at the science and stop all the mandates, allow the community to go back to normal? They obviously like the amount of devastation that they've created. The empty streets, the empty shops. Are they? Are they going to do anything in the way of actually reading a bit of science? Because seriously, you do not have to be a scientist or a doctor or a GP to be able to read a medical journal, accredited medical journal, to understand why or make your own medical choices. Any time I have been prescribed anything, I will go back and actually look through the list of adverse reactions or side effects or I go get a second opinion. I have not even been able to get a second opinion in this place at all because I haven't been able to be seen or shown anything. There is no way that Chief Health Officer or others or anyone in that department should be let off the hook. Not at all. And don't worry, I would hope once the community gets the chance to vote in November, that there will be somebody in this place that will actually be able to go through some of the rotten things that I've actually had to sit here and vote on and remove them all. And put something in place to actually get the people who have done wrong and have the proper inquiries. Because that's what my community want. I have hundreds of emails. Got T-shirts. I tell you what, and the more you do this, the more you bury things, the more you try to not give the information that the community deserve so they can make their own choices. Seriously, messaging, a communications department, propaganda, rhetoric, lies. And I've sat here and I had to every day listening to it, rather than real science, the science that it's basic science about your natural immunity, but also the times that I've brought up in this place from the very start, before there was even a vaccine, because I'm absolutely cannot believe these mandates continue on with this government, that there has never been a time that this government has given a wellness message or has actually allowed people to understand how to treat themselves with COVID at home. And time again, I have brought that up since 2020. So apparently members of the medical profession are not meant to use their medical knowledge to violate human rights and civil liberties, or even under a threat, which this government is. They're meant to actually solemnly promise to actually look after their patients, which I've watched so many medical professionals know from their 20, 50 years of medical knowledge actually be silent because of threats of fines. Done well, government, fining people and threatening them to a point that the fear, and they're still walking around with masks that don't work. sending so many people bankrupt. Yeah, I'm a bit sad that they've done it again today, but I am not really surprised. The arrogance, the way that they actually have spoken about people who are protesting. But then the next level is, I guess, the police response to all of this in a health crisis and what this government has made our police force do. And other people in the community. Seriously, you've created authorised officers to go against our own Victorians. Hurry up, November.